little acceleration here. Wow. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new 2022 Acura MDX Type S. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Jody Wilkinson Acura here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this MDX. Check out the inventory in the description down below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 21 on the highway, with power outlets being 355 horsepower and then 354 pound-feet of torque. And look at the carbon fiber there in the center. Definitely a cool setup. Now let's go over the front end of the Type S. So first off, I think this looks absolutely amazing in black. You guys can see the body lines just absolutely pop. Now coming down below, lights of course pop off. You guys saw them on though. You got the LED accent lights, and then you've got the little projector bulbs there for the headlights themselves. You also got the venting here off to the side with the parking sensor integrated into it, and then there on the front end, we have our subtle Type S badge. Notice how the whole front grille is all blacked out, and then you can see the Acura logo there in the center. And again, overall, this is a really good looking vehicle from a front end perspective. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you can see here with the coloration on the wheels, that metallic gray, which I think looks amazing. You've got the red brake caliper there to kind of contrast, which again looks really good. Notice I've got the fender flare right here, another Type S badge there on the side. And then you can see that the fender flare connects to the molding there at the bottom. And then notice that the mirrors are body painted, so are the door handles. And then if we take a few steps back, you can see the full side profile on the MDX Type S, and again, looks great, especially just the subtle pop from the the calipers rather, looks great. So here is our key fob. You can see we've got remote start, we have our lock, unlock, and then the opening there for the hatch. And then you guys can see Acura logo with the Type S logo and then the red piping. Definitely one of the nicest feeling and coolest looking key fobs in the car industry, if you ask me. Now, opening this up, you guys can see here in the back we have our Type S logo there on the floor covering. We have our little power outlet here in the back as well. It just opens up that way. And notice with everything folded down, storage space back here is really solid. And then if we actually pick this up, you can see here we've got a little bit more storage space as well. And I love how the covering continues all the way back there. And yeah, there you go. Now let's finish things up here with the rear of the MDX. So you can see here with the spoiler there at the top and then the light there on the center portion. And then I love the tail lights here. Just the design looks fantastic. Another Type S badge, and then we have our MDX and then all-wheel drive badge. And then I love the look of the exhaust tips. Definitely an aggressive appearance having the quad exhaust tips. Parking sensors there at the bottom. And yeah, I mean, it's not too like loud and shouty about what it is. Like there's some subtle things like the exhaust tips, red brake calipers, all that. But other than that, right, it's not too out there, which I think is great. Now here's a door panel in the rear. You can see you've got leather here with the stitching that goes throughout, and notice it's red, which the contrast between the red and the black looks great. We have our sunshade here for the rear passengers, and then you can see the material used here on the side, and then one of the speakers for the sound system. Type S badge right there. And then you can see here with the seats themselves, you got the red stitching, and you can see the inserts here in the center of the seats. Definitely creates cool contrast with the seats. Got more red stitching there on the outside. Now, popping in, you can see legroom here, and then headroom as well. Notice we have the climate controls here for the rear. You've got all of your charging ports down below, which is definitely a nice little thing. Actually, this is just a tab that stays there, I suppose, but still solid. Now you can see here in the center seat, I love how they still continue the red stitching there even into the center. Now this does have a third row. You guys saw that it was folded down. Just like other SUVs in this segment, I would reserve the third row for kids, but it's still very practical. You can fit adults back there in a pinch. Let's head to the front. Now here is the door panel at the front. You guys can see again the padding and the stitching that goes all throughout, and then the trim up at the top, and then a couple more speakers for the sound system. All of our window controls, and I actually love the kind of like look of those controls. Mirror adjustments, just a quick look at the mirrors themselves. Notice we got 3 different settings for the memory seats, another Type S badge. And then you can see here with these seats, again with the red stitching, the inserts there all down the center. And you can see the power adjustments there on the side. Another Type S badge on the floor mat. Pedals look really nice. Got your parking brake right here, and then this is for like the safety tech. We've got the stability control parking sensors. Steering wheel is power adjustable, and there's where we'll look for it pop in. Here is the steering wheel. So you can see we've got really nice leather here at the top, the red stitching, perforated leather here on the sides to get a little bit of a better grip. And then you can see the red stitching continues to the soft leather. Another Type S logo. We do have adaptive cruise control, steering assist, got volume controls on the other side, and then beautiful paddle shifters here. We have a turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Also the grips on the back of the steering wheel. Very nice for your like finger holds. Now here is the center gauge cluster, and full digital screen, looks great. You can see here on the side there's a bunch of different menus that you can scroll through to see different bits of vehicle information. You know, pretty standard stuff here in the car industry nowadays. But the cool part is the drive mode. So notice we're in comfort right now. Listen to the sound there. We can pop over into normal, and then we have sport, which you notice how it changes the whole gauge cluster setup. And then we also have a Sport Plus, which makes things even more aggressive. And I'll show you guys on the center screen because it has cool animations, and there is a snow mode. But I love how they have like a different gauge cluster setup for all of the different drive modes. Now here is the center infotainment system. First off, we pop it into reverse. You've got a backup camera with trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. And notice that there's some different camera viewpoints here on this that you can go through, so you can do like a zoomed in view. Resolution on the camera is really good. Now going from that to the rest of the infotainment system, got the cool sounds that you guys know I'm a huge fan of. We have cabin talk as well, so you don't have to strain your voice if you've got kids in the 3rd row. It's definitely a nice thing. And overall, even though this is not a touchscreen, as you guys can see, response time with this little keypad is really good, and it's easy to use as well. Notice we got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And finally, drive modes. So we got all the different animations. Notice we got the snow animation, the comfort, the normal, and then the sport, and then hold down. We have our Sport Plus. I don't know, I think it's cool that you've got the different animations. Notice there is an individual mode as well that you can go into. I'll show you guys how to get into that. But yeah, that's everything for the whole like center infotainment system. Now here is the climate control section. So we've got the dual zone here for the front. Again, remember we have that climate zone for the rear. We have heated cooled seats here for the front passengers. Now for the drive mode select, for most of the drive modes, you're just twisting the dial and you have to hold down to get in the Sport Plus. For the individual, you're actually pressing in the drive mode select on the Acura logo, and that's what lets you get into the individual drive mode. Notice we have our auto stop start, brake hold, and then you can see the transmission selector here. And then this is the control here for the infotainment system, volume control here, and then like the radio selection. Now it's got a little bit of storage space right here, a couple cup holders. And then this is actually a wrist rest so that you can use the keypad and not strain your wrist. Definitely a smart little thing to put there. Wireless phone charger. And then you can see here the center console. Pretty normal setup. You got the 2 different tabs, so you can see here with the storage space, pretty good. Got some more charging ports. I love it when they do this with center consoles. So like if you have something small like a receipt or something that you just want to put on the top, you don't want to be buried, then you can just use that tab. And then notice here with the stitching on either side. And then look at the dash here with all of the padding all over in this contrasted red stitching. And then down below with the darker trim, more red stitching. And then you see the glove box right there. And just how kind of all the trim flows together. And then popping up top here, we do have a full panoramic center. We've got the sunglass holder, and then we've got the sun visor as well. And there you go. So sorry, there's quite a bit of glare, so it's kind of difficult to see the window sticker. But what you guys need to know is pretty much everything comes standard with the MDX Type S from an equipment standpoint. The only optional equipment on this actually is the paint color, which is $500, and then destination and handling. So anyways, our total MSRP is $68,245, and let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's your visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors. And throughout the rest of the rear. And, oh, that's funny, I'm gonna leave that in. So setting off in the MDX Type S, and now we can talk about the suspension on this. This has adaptive air suspension with auto front leveling, which is definitely a cool feature. And I'm interested to see how it changes the driving dynamics. Let's make sure we're in the proper drive mode. So we're gonna go into comfort to start things off with. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this changes the driving dynamics from a luxury perspective, then also, you know, from a sporty driving perspective as well. First setting off, I can tell you, very smooth. Yeah, definitely can actually feel a difference with this. So this road's very beat up, very, very beat up. I can tell you that right now. There's like little potholes everywhere. And yes, this stays so nice and planted. You can tell with the air suspension, it actually helps out with keeping this in that nice planted feeling. And yeah, that's solid. I really like how this feels actually. So it has improved the ride quality, and it's not like the regular MDX has bad ride quality. Like don't think that like if you get a regular MDX then you're gonna have ride quality that's not great. That's not the case. This is just a little bit better. Now I'm gonna pop it over into the normal setting from a suspension standpoint, and we're gonna see how it does, or drive mode standpoint, but also it's adaptive, so you guys get what I'm saying. Yeah, still really smooth. Now we're gonna pop it into the Sport Plus. Okay, so we're in the Sport Plus setting right here. And, perfect red light. So we can talk about things for a second. I want to talk about seat comfort. So these bolsters on the seats are very, like they pop out a little bit and they hold you in place a decent amount, but they're not constrictive at all. And in terms of the plushness of the seats, it's actually really good. They're not so aggressive that you just feel like you're sitting on a rock. Sometimes with high performance vehicles, they'll do that, but not with the Type S. So they still made a really good, comfortable seat. And we'll get our little acceleration here. Wow. Yeah, it's quick. That is for sure. It is quick. We're gonna pop into the S mode. So that's not full manual mode. You actually have to press the paddles to activate full manual mode. Yeah, the 10-speed is very quick, very responsive, just like in the TLX Type S. And it makes for a very exciting driving experience. This powertrain's perfect for this. Yeah, so responsive. You get a little bit of turbo noise, which is great. If you press the drive mode select again, it basically would, not like the change for the drive modes themselves, but like the transmission select, I should say, I guess, it puts it back into full automatic mode, which is great. But yeah, this thing is fun. And it feels very nimble too. It feels light on its feet. So yeah, let's sum things up here with the MDX Type S. First off, exterior wise, I think the new MDX, just any package on it looks great. Now the Type S gives it a sportier appearance, right? A lot of the vehicle has darker coloration with the accent pieces. This one's finished in black, so it really has that like Batmobile type appearance. And then from an interior perspective, really nice with the material use. And I think Acura just did a really good job with the interior layout. Everything's easy to use. Steering wheel feels amazing. That's definitely a high point. And then from a driving perspective, it's quick. It's definitely quick. Got so much power. And aside from just being quick, it definitely feels like it handles better than a regular MDX. It feels a little bit smoother as well. So there's only benefits with this. So basically, Acura's taken a really good third row SUV and they've made it better. And then they've also given it a sporty edge. So you kind of get the best of everything. So if you're looking for a fun, fast, comfortable third row SUV that's pretty much checks all the boxes, right? You can do everything with this. Then check out the new MDX Type S. It is so much fun. And I'm excited for when they do an RDX Type S. I think it's coming in the near future. We'll see though. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2022 Acura MDX Type S. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jody Wilkinson Acura here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with the Type S. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you all.